Alright, hello everybody. Welcome in, welcome back. This is GVS, where we talk all things sports and pop culture. It has been a freaking hot minute, has it not? I had, somewhere queued up here. I had a, March 27th was the last time that I was going to stream. I had something queued up. I had a thumbnail of Stephen A. Smith, LeBron James. I had a thumbnail of Aaron Judge. Like, I was going to do a stream basically Wednesday for a prediction, kind of like of, okay, we got opening day for baseball. We got, all this. I had Russell Wilson, Stephon Diggs. Like, I had a thumbnail, but I never streamed that night. And then it's just been sitting there like, Giddy's made a half court, buzzer beater. Dodgers are undefeated. Soto. That's who the middle one is. Soto was on the thumbnail too. It's like we've seen Soto's first game as, a Mets player, and then we've seen how that series went for New York against the Mets. And so here, now as we sit, it's like, it's been a couple days, and it's like this thumbnail's pretty old, so I thought I'd update it just a little bit. But what are we going to talk about today? And what are some things that we're going to talk about today? I was thinking what we could do is just kind of glance over the first and the more important things, which are college basketball and everything that's going on with college basketball right now, because that's what everybody's talking about. Because the Final Four is set. We have our 4 teams. Gosh, sorry. It is so just freaking shaky. Like this, like my setup, I'm not going to lie. Oh, we have a little bit of a skirmish here. So the games that are going on right now for the NHL, it's the Sharks versus the Kings. And I'm not going to lie, this is kind of, again, I mean, it's probably because it's Sunday, but like, sometimes, like, I can't even start these streams till like late at night because teams on the West, we're not done playing. Like the Suns versus Rockets, they had their home game. That game probably ended about an hour ago because I think tip-off was at 6. So it probably went 6 to 8. 6 to 8:30. Oh yeah, look at all this grabbing and throwing, and anyways, that's neither here nor there. Let's talk about stuff and let's dive into it. I think my first initial reaction to March Madness and everything that has happened with who the Final Four teams are. I've heard a lot about people talking about how, oh, this is a chalk Final Four. Like, where's the madness? Where's, the Cinderella teams? Where's... this isn't a fun Final Four matchup. The Cinderella runs are dead in the NHL. Not the NHL, sorry. The, March Madness and the NIL portal is going to kill all of that, and there's going to be no fun upsets for the foreseeable future. And it's like, have you guys ever watched basketball before? They're going to happen, just it didn't happen this year. I don't think the NIL portal truthfully affects basketball as much as people are saying that it does, because if anybody has followed college football as closely as these people claim that they've been following college basketball, the portal's been a thing since legislation passed back in the fall of 2021. So when Chet Holmgren was still playing ball at Gonzaga, and there were all those upsets on number 1 teams, like, remember that week in like November and stuff, like, I'm thinking Michigan State was still good with Peyton Thorne. Kenny Pickett was still at like Pitt, and Pitt was having a decent season. Mac Jones was still kind of respectful on the Patriots. The Bills were kind of a joke still because Josh Allen lost to the Patriots when the Patriots only threw the ball like 3 times and lost 10-0 or something at Buffalo. And anyways, that's a lot of deep, like, whoa, but random crap and knowledge. But the NIL portal has been open since 2021. We have extended players and given players, especially in the Pac-12 and the West Coast teams, just like, I have my personal theory on why, but just who the athletic directors were, and yes, the politics of how that state, because if you noticed, teams on the East, they did play their 2020 games versus teams on the West that didn't, but that's neither here nor there. We gave those kids an extra year of eligibility, which is why we have the 5th-year super seniors like, Will Howard, Cam Rising, Bo Nix, Dylan Gabriel, Jackson Dart. I think, though, if they're, I'm thinking, now let's switch to basketball. I'm thinking of Hunter Dickerson, R.J. Davis, any other crazy names? Not that I can think of, because I think basketball was very much, it's not like college football where you sit at a program for maybe 2-3 years. Basketball is very much a one and done thing. We saw it back in 2017 and 2018 where the Ball brothers, they didn't want to play college hoops, so they went and played semi-pro. So I think they went to Lithuania or something, and they went and played overseas, and then they came back. But if a team and a program and stuff, and how people are posing the question of the NIL is ruining college basketball, what about people like Brooks, who've been sitting at Auburn for a while? What about players? What about the seniors who are on Duke's team? What about the seniors who are on Houston teams? Like, there are the one and done players who are really good, the Cooper Flags of the tournament. But as much as we shine a light on those players who will, yes, be drafted in the first round when the NBA draft comes around in the summer, we're still not talking about the role players and second string, third string guys who are sophomores going to be juniors who went to their senior year and stuff. And instead of declaring earlier, they came back, and now look at this. They're on a loaded Auburn squad. They're on a loaded Florida squad. Like, I think we just think, oh, these big schools, Duke, North Carolina, St. John's. I mean, Ejiofor has been with St. John's for a while. What are some other teams that are kind of blue bloods for basketball? Villanova used to be one. I did see that they did hire their new coach today. Kansas. Baylor's not really a blue blood, but Baylor's had it some of its years. Louisville. Michigan. But these analysts think that, oh, these big schools are going to be the only schools that can go dancing, and will get to the big dance and win these Sweet 16 and these Elite 8 matchups. When, sometimes, like, there will be a squad like McNeese, or there will be a squad we saw with Arkansas. Arkansas was ranked number 10. I mean, if there was a little bit of organization on that last possession, could they have gone to the Elite Eight? I think so. But, like, we're going to have teams like Arkansas. We're going to have teams like, who else? What's another good team? For example, like Villanova, after they reload and try to come back here, where there are guys who are on the team this year who didn't get to go to the bracket, where they stay there, build just a little bit more, get more of that experience and that transition from junior to senior year, sophomore to junior year, and they're going to take a run at it. And no, they won't get bought out and go to these other big programs that some of these sports analysts think of. Oh, we'll never have Cinderella teams. Like, it's going to happen. It's bound to happen. Was this season a little bit chalked up where, look at this, we have 1s and 2s versus, the only one that was different was the Florida one, because Texas Tech was a 3 seed, because St. John's dropped the ball as the 2 seed. Where, yeah, we have 1s all across the board, and it's a little bit of deja vu last time when it was UConn, Kentucky, Florida, Wisconsin, I think. Back in 2014. So no. 2014, that was the last time Florida went. It was when D Rose was at Memphis. 04. It's an even. Hold on, let me look it up. Memphis Final Four. Let me look it up. Oh, 2008? It was when San Antonio, 2006? Oh, no, I read that wrong. April 5th through the 7th. Yeah. Okay, San Antonio, Texas, 2008. Okay, yeah, that's when. Whoops, my bad. Yeah, that team had D Rose. They're a pretty special squad, and I think it honestly could have been vacated too, just like how, like I saw this stat out there. It showed a handful of good teams, good players, or whatever, and then when it showed Louisville, it was like vacated, and that's like, okay, get out of here, because they've vacated it, and they think the NCAA is like, yeah, we showed them. Michigan, that game was still played. We still know who won the game. Anyways, because they're going to vacate. I don't know when it's going to happen, but they probably are going to vacate Michigan's national title for the 23 football season. I don't know if they'd vacate Ohio State's But they're going to try to, I'm telling you what, they're going to try to vacate some of Saban's titles with Alabama. Anyways. Okay, so that's just my thought on the idea and the process of where college basketball is going with Cinderella teams. Like, I still think it's very much a factor. I just think that with how this tournament lined up and played out, I mean, the best of the best were playing. I mean, the best of the best and the teams that were supposed to show up actually did. Like, if you look at the teams that have gotten upset in the past, like, yeah, when Purdue lost to Fairleigh Dickinson, Virginia lost to UMBC, Princeton, when Princeton beat Arizona, it's like, it was a choke job. And I think this year, there weren't a lot of teams that actually, there wasn't a team that was running off of, the only team that I think that ran into was running off of the momentum of how they did in the conference championship weekend in their own respected conference was probably Michigan, with how far Michigan got in this bracket. They ran the table with the Big Ten tournament, and then they got to the Sweet 16. They ran into the buzzsaw, which was Auburn, and yeah, they didn't have any answers for Auburn. So I think it wasn't like how last year was when, NC State went on a run. They were 8th seed in the ACC tournament, something like that. And like, they just start to get some upsets and momentum rolling. And look at this, they're playing RJ Davis and UNC for the ACC title game. They win it. They secure a bid into the dance. They're the 11th seed. And then they just have all this momentum of getting to the ACC title and winning it, that they just kind of blitz through everybody. Yeah, they beat Duke and they upset Duke to go to the Final Four. So I think upsets are still very much a part of the game, and they'll happen. Just, it didn't happen this year, but I don't think it's too much to like freak out and go, upsets will never happen. Like, they'll happen. Sorry, you have a little bit too long on that one, but let's continue what we were chatting about. Florida got the job done today against Texas Tech. Duke, they move on. They beat Alabama last night. And I wanted to do, the other reason why I haven't streamed in a little while too is been busy. Unexpectedly, like a lot of these nights when usually I'm getting ready to stream, whether it's last second jackpot game sessions or going to luau dances, I wasn't able to cover the end of the Duke game. LeBron, I did want to cover the LeBron conversation with Pat McAfee and stuff, and how that went down, because I saw a lot of people got freaking triggered over that. He's like, oh, he's a liar and all that shit, which that was fun. What other social pop culture things have gone on? Hey, Al Michaels. Man, Al Michaels. Honestly, I think the NFL did him dirty, pushing him to Thursday Night Football. I think Sunday Night Football, I'm sorry, like Chris Collinsworth and Mike Tirico don't bring the same amount of energy that just Al Michaels alone does. So that's a tangent for another time, but yeah, Duke took care of business against Auburn last night. Alabama. I think Alabama kept it. What kept me engaged for watching the game is Bama would sink a three, bring it within 6 points. Duke would come back, sink another three, and the shots that were falling for Bama in the Sweet 16 when they beat BYU after setting a tournament record, those shots weren't falling this time around against Duke, which is ultimately why I think they lost by 20 points and were not victors the other day. I think, and then the other thing too is, like, Duke's a pretty loaded team. We keep glancing over them and, oh, it's Duke, but Duke's bench, all these teams that I'm looking at, Florida, Auburn especially, and Duke, like, these teams have deep benches and great role players where, yeah, these are complete teams where I look at the Final Four and who we have left out of Houston, Auburn, Duke, and Florida. I don't know who's going to win it personally. Like, I think any team can win it. There's not one team. Like, let's rewind the clock back 2 years when it was UConn and a whole bunch of San Diego State, you know, Miami, Florida Atlantic. Like, you can make a case for why Florida wins. You can make a case why Duke wins. You can make a case why Auburn wins. So it to me, it's actually cool is not the like cool is the word that I want to use, but there's no. It's not like we got a sneaky, like, let's say that Michigan beat Auburn and then they beat Michigan State. It's not like we have a 5 seed in there where it's like, okay, let's root for the underdog here. Like, there is no underdog because, I mean, you look at Duke and Houston. Any team could win it. I personally think Duke's going to win it. Or then Florida versus Auburn. I personally think Auburn's going to win it. But guys, it could realistically be anybody's to win. And then I'm thinking back to the middle of February, late January, when we're watching how the SEC's just taken over college basketball, and I'm making a prediction where I'm like, okay, it's going to be Duke versus anybody in the SEC. Well, it very well could be Duke versus Auburn. It could be Duke versus Florida. Do I think now? No, I don't think the committee purposely planned it that way, but we'll see. So no scary upsets this year. Let's move ahead now. Let's talk a little bit about the NHL. Because from the thumbnail, you guys can tell I got Sid as the thumbnail. The reason why I put him is because he had an overtime winner today against the Ottawa Senators. When I tuned into the game in the third period and it was 0-0, I was like, is Linus Ullmark on net? It was not Ullmark. It was Forsberg. It was Forsberg, and then Tristan Jarry was on net for the Penguins. I'm very impressed. Oh, Tristan Jarry did get the first star. Sidney Crosby got the second star, and Anton Forsberg got the third star. It was a goalie clinic. It was a goalie clinic, and usually in those kind of not shootouts, but like nothing games. Yeah. Even in a loss, Forsberg did deserve the stars. I mean, he had 34 saves. Jarry had 31. Like, technically speaking, by saves, you know, Forsberg had more. Tristan Jarry with a shutout. Nah, I didn't think I'd be. Didn't think I'd be saying that this season. It's very interesting, the Penguins' dynamic. How there are games like this where, holy shit, we got a top 5 goaltender in the league. Like, we can run the table, we can get that 7th spot, we can get that 8th spot, and make a decent run at this. And then there's other games like the other day where they lost to Buffalo 7-3. 8-3? Let me double check. 7-3. Yeah, it was 7-3 against the Sabres. Lost to the Lightning 6-1. Lost to the Panthers 4-3 after blowing a 3-1 lead in that game, mind you. Like, a win is a win. A win is a win. I will give them that. But at the same time, you look at who we got left. Let's look at who we got left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 more games. At St. Louis. We're not winning that. St. Louis has won 10 straight, I think. We're not winning that. At Dallas. Probably not. At Chicago and versus Chicago. So home and home series. I think we could win both of those. So there's 4 points. At New Jersey. Probably not. Versus Boston. Yes. And then versus Washington. Probably not. And what's funny is this Washington game and how it plays out. Not saying this out loud. Not jinxing it. But this Washington game could decide our fate on us getting to the playoffs or not, and if Ovi breaks the record in the regular season. How funny would that be? And now that I'm saying it out loud, where Ovi sends our ass packing as he breaks the record. You know what? Let's say in overtime too. To add to the dramatic effect of the Sidney Crosby-Alex Ovechkin rivalry. Yep, Ovi's one away from breaking it. He ties the record sometime, in the second period or something. But he needs one more to break it. Let's say Letang or Crosby gets a late netter in the third period, tying it at 3 apiece or something. And then an OT, just a single one-timer from Ovi right through, Jari's glove side. And look at that. The Penguins are eliminated, and Ovi breaks the record in overtime at home. I mean, on the road, because I'm looking at it from the point of view of it. It's the Penguins, so it says versus instead of at. Yeah, because I always do that. Anybody else do that when they're talking about their team? The Penguins are, so Montreal is at 77 points. Pittsburgh's at 71. So technically, they're 3 wins behind. They're 3 games back, but New York, Columbus, Detroit, and the Islanders, they also have to lose 2. And the Canadians have to lose 2. Like, Canadians, Rangers, they all have to lose out, and the Penguins have to win out. Like, so it's a fun balance of odds of that happening are very slim. I haven't been paying attention to the Panthers. The Panthers do not own the Atlantic anymore. The Leafs are the 1 seed. Tampa's the 2. Florida's the 3. Did not notice that. Anybody wondering about the Kings and Sharks game? It is 6-1 in favor of the Kings. I'm really interested to see. Sorry. I'm really interested to see how the Kings will fare out against Edmonton, because that's who they're going to play in the first round. I think Minnesota. I think Minnesota's going to drop the ball, and Minnesota's going to be the 8th. Well, you know what? Yeah. I think St. Louis is going to continue, because let's look at St. Louis. So they're on a win streak of 9. Pardon me. 9-game win streak, not 10. Is St. Louis's win streak impressive? Yes, because it's 9 hockey games. But who they have played up until this point, not really impressive. I mean, they beat the Ducks, they beat the Predators, and they beat the Canadians. Canadians are on the brink of potentially being eliminated, but the 4 games spread out throughout the Ducks and the Predators, all those teams have been eliminated. So it's kind of impressive, but it's They've beat the Blackhawks, also they've been eliminated. But where it kind of solidifies of, okay, maybe this team is kind of legit, they beat the Avalanche 2-1. Now, let's go to full schedule here. Let's see who else St. Louis has as we close this thing out. They have Detroit. I could see that being a win. Pittsburgh. I could see that being a win. They got Colorado at home. I could see that being a win. Now, this is where this is a punch to the gut. They have to go play the top seed Winnipeg Jets and then the 3rd seed Edmonton Oilers. I think we're going to see how legit these Blues are after Wednesday, April 9th. Because you beat Seattle, you beat Utah. Okay, great. But I think the Blues can win enough games to steal that 7th seed. And then after they get the 7th seed, they'll end up playing, if I'm not mistaken, they'll go play Vegas. And there's parts of me that want to see a fun upset, a 2 versus a 7 where, look at this, St. Louis snuck it out in 7 games. And they get to move on and then get to go play the Kings or the Oilers. there's parts of me that want to see that, but then there's other parts of me that it's like, no, please don't do that, because I want to see Vegas line up potentially against the Stars, against the Jets. I think the West is wide open. I think the West is wide open. There's too much, like from the West and the hockey that I've watched, that like it's a 5-team race between the Central, top 3 in the Central, and then in the Pacific, Vegas and the Oilers. Like, I know the Kings are sitting there at that 2 seed. They're going to get 2 points tonight, which will give them a little bit of a lead on Edmonton for home ice. They will get home ice in this matchup with how this seeding's sit now. But hello, there's another goal. So it's a touchdown. They put a touchdown on the Sharks. But I don't know about the Kings, man. Like, I don't think the Kings could beat the Jets. I don't think the Kings could beat the Avs, the Stars. Like, if I were to pick, let's say how the matchup goes. Okay, who do you got? The Blues or the Kings? I'd follow the trend and I'd say, hey, give me the Blues. They're on a hot streak, but we'll see. We'll see. I think the playoffs are in 2 weeks for hockey. Okay. Let's see what else we had today. Anything? So yeah, Crosby, he had his OT winner. Canadians beat the Panthers 4-2, and there was a little bit of a little scuffle, brouhaha at the end of the game because, oh my gosh, plus the 2-point conversion, man, 8-1, damn. Now, is it impressive that you put an 8-piece on the Sharks? No, it's not. 8 goals is still a lot. I just. Like, because it's hard to gauge. What's really hard to gauge is these kind of games, because you're beating up on a team that got eliminated in February from playoff contention. Like, yeah, it's good morale and it's building the Kings' momentum, but like, let's look and see who the Kings have the rest of the way here. Versus Winnipeg tomorrow. Well, Tuesday. Or even scroll up just a little bit. Okay, you beat up on bad teams like the Sharks. You can't beat Toronto, you lose 3-1. You can't beat Colorado, you lose 4-0. Like, they beat up on bad teams and make themselves look good, but once they have to play the good teams, who are in like the plus 500, let's just look at it overall throughout the whole season. Let's start back in October. They lost to Boston. Boston at the beginning of the year was fine. They started struggling around November, and then they just fell. You lose to Toronto. You lose to Vegas. You beat Vegas 6-3. You lose to Colorado. You beat Detroit. Detroit was hot for a minute. You beat Winnipeg. That was handing Winnipeg, I believe, their second or third loss in November, around Thanksgiving weekend. You beat New York, but then New York fell off. You beat Dallas 3-2 around December. Lose to Edmonton. You lose to Pittsburgh. You lose to Florida. Oh, no, you beat Florida 2-1. You lose to Florida 3-0. You lose to Tampa 3-0. These are January games. You go on a 5-game skid. You lose to Vancouver, Dallas, St. Louis, Chicago, and St. Louis again. Now, this is what kind of started St. Louis's little run of going undefeated and having a 9-1 record. You beat Vegas 6-5. Ooh, okay, maybe the Kings did go on a little bit of a run here. Lost to Minnesota, but I mean, it's not impressive beating up on Nashville, Chicago, Sharks. Interesting. Yeah. NHL Playoff Watch Guide to the Pivotal 11-Game Saturday. Who can make a push to the playoffs? Playoff Watch. Playoff standings. Who will win the Atlantic Division? Well, let's look at the standings. Wild card. There's parts of me that feel like Florida's going to take one more push at it. If Florida can't get it done, if Florida can't beat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in their next 5 games, if Florida can't get at least 6 points in their next 5 games, I think they punt it. They let the Leafs take it, because they have the Leafs twice in the next 5 games, and if they can't get those wins, they'll probably let the Leafs take it, try to get one up on Tampa so they can at least host. Because we all know, you could give the Leafs the first seed. You could give the Leafs a first round bye. Have them meet someone at the second round. They're not getting to the Eastern Conference Final. There's too many teams. There's too many teams where it's going to come down to. Okay. That's getting a little louder. I do remember looking at this stat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's look at the top 5 goalkeepers. Okay, we're gonna go goals per game, goals allowed, 2 point something. Okay, top 5 goalies are Connor Hellebuyck, Darcy Kemper, Andre Vasilevsky, Logan Thompson, and Anthony Stolarz. Okay, Darcy Kemper is on this Kings team. And I am an avid believer of the goalkeeper you have going into, the playoffs. If he can put it together for 16 games, you're winning the cup. Look at what happened with Sergei Bobrovsky. It was going that way for the Rangers last season. I mean, Igor Shesterkin turned into a brick wall until the Eastern Conference Finals rolled around. But, I mean, Sergei Bobrovsky's creeping right there at the 6th spot. Then Mackenzie Blackwood. Then Aiden Hill. 8 is Jake Ottinger. He's allowing 2.4. Jacob Markstrom sitting at 2.5. But, the more we kind of go down and reach the Kochetkov, Gustafsson, Allen, Hoffer, Lindgren, the backup for Capitals, it's I feel like we're not going to have, Dustin Wolf's at 18, Jordan Binnington's at 19, Calvin Pickard's at 20 for Edmonton. These goalies that allow 3 goals a game, 2.8, but Igor, Joseph Woll for Toronto, Linus Ullmark for Ottawa, Pickard, Edmonton. I just have a feeling that, I know it's an average, it's not gonna, there's no way. Because let's just go back to last season. Sergei Bobrovsky, during the regular season, he ended at number 3. Let's go 2022 to 2023. Oh my gosh, Linus Ullmark, 1.89. Swayman, 2.27. Now Swayman's one of the worst goalies. He's let the most goals by this year after paying him all that money. Aiden Hill was ranked 12. So, okay, maybe it could be a stretch. That was in the 23 season. Let's go to the 2022 season when the Avs won it. Igor Shesterkin had a 207. Where is Kemper? Kemper was at an 11. Was Forsberg the other one? The Avalanche had a two-headed monster. They ran into that playoffs with two goalies. Okay, so maybe I'm already blowing up my own theory about how the goalkeeper needs to be in at least the top 10. Because I mean, we look at the regular season. Yeah, Sergei was 3. There was two goalies better than him in the 22 to 23. Hell, Gustafson, Ranta. Like we knew 2 of the top 5 goalies played for Boston, and we saw what happened in Boston. Samsonov, Ilya Samsonov's on Vegas now. Oh, I'm thinking of Ilya Sorokin. Whoops, my bad. Jake Ottinger. Okay, maybe that theory is not correct. But from looking at it from this glance, though, you have Connor Hellebuyck, number 1 team in the West, number 1 goalie. It's hard for me to bet against that and go, oh no, it's not going to happen. Or you got Logan Thomas, who's the 4 goalie. Where no, I'm not gonna pick him when we've seen how well the Caps have done. Like Vasilevsky is a great goalie for Tampa, but Tampa's missing a lot of players and a lot of key pieces that helped them win that cup a handful of years back when they went back to back. Well, it's over. Okay, the Kings just beat the Sharks 8-1. All right, enough of me yapping. Let's move on, though. That's 2 points. In the standings, in the division for the wild card. In the Atlantic, the 1, 2, and 3, Leafs, Lightning, and Panthers. In the Metro, Caps, Hurricanes, Devils. The wild card, the 1 and the 2, the Senators and the Canadiens. Tied for the 8th seed, though, is the Rangers with 77 points also. And then the Blue Jackets are 2 points behind at 75 points. I really truthfully think the Rangers could, yes, make a run and try to steal that 8th seed and get 77 points. But when you're looking at the East, it's kind of like, for what? You're going to run into Ovi and the Caps. You're going to get whooped. Okay, and then in the West, 1, 2, and 3 for the Central, we got the Jets, Stars, and Avalanche. In the Pacific, we got the Knights, Kings, and Oilers. Kings improved to 91 points. So realistically, they could, for the Pacific, take a push to get the 1. And then the wild card 7 and 8, Minnesota Wild and St. Louis Blues. I could see the Blues, stealing that 7th. Minnesota would drop down to the 8 if they're not careful. And Calgary comes out of nowhere. Or Vancouver, steal that. All right, so that's the NHL. We have like 5, 6 more games. It's getting to the end, but it's all right. Postseason will be freaking amazing. Okay, some of the scores around the NBA, which is why I even had it in the thumbnail. There were a lot of freaking brawls tonight, and one of them was what was going on with Detroit and Minnesota. Oh gosh. I'll admit too, because right now ESPN is showing highlights of the Auburn versus Michigan State game. Goodness. I was talking about the second Janai Broom plays big, Auburn's going to win big games. And that's exactly kind of how this Sweet 16 and Elite 8 has been. Thankfully, though, because how he landed on his ankle, that could have been bad. That could have been real bad. But they hold on. He had 20. He had 25, 27 tonight, I think. 25. Yeah, he had a double-double, 25 and 14. But yeah, Auburn looks good. Um, do I think Auburn can beat Florida, though? I'm sorry, no. I think I think Duke and Florida might be running into each other. Wow, they're comparing him to. Wow. They had to, they had to dig deep in the bag to look for that one. They were comparing his performance in the Elite Eight to Hakeem Olajuwon like 50 years ago. It's like, damn. Okay, Warriors beat the Spurs. Cavs beat the Clippers by 5, so that was a close game. Knicks beat the Trailblazers. Hawks upset the Bucks. Giannis had 31. But Zachariah, 36. I think the Hawks still have a spot in the play-in. And then right here, 7 ejected. 7 ejected as brawl involves Pistons and Wolves spill into the crowd. 123-104. Pelicans beat the Hornets, 98-94. Raptors beat the Sixers. I don't think the Sixers are going to get to 30 wins this year. The Sixers, like, I'm not going to lie, the Sixers had a pathetic ass season. Like, this season was pathetic for the Sixers. And then Rockets versus Suns. Rockets blow out the Suns, man. Dylan Brooks ejected after getting tangled with KD. I will say, because I did watch the video of him getting ejected, I think it was a little soft. I don't think it had anything to do with him getting tangled up with KD. I think what got him ejected is what he was saying to the ref. That's why he was ejected. I don't think it had anything, because basketball players are rough. We know they're rough. I think Booker had 28 in this game. Okay, never mind. It was Durant. It was Durant who left the game with an ankle injury. But yeah, like, the NBA is a little softer. Like, we've known this compared to other leagues, but the fact that you can get tangled up just a little bit, and then, but it was because it was to the ref. If he would have been ejected for him getting tangled up with KD and shoving off a dude that got in his face, I'd call that soft, but there's a time and a place to talk to the ref, and who knows? Maybe Dylan Brooks and this ref could have had a little bit of history, because sometimes that has happened. Like, players remember, officials remember. Okay, but if KD's done, like, if KD's injured, I think they'll sit him. I think they could sit him for the rest of the season. There's no reason to bring KD back. I mean, holy shit, KD's done. KD's done for the year. And here's why. Even if this was just a little minor slip up, well, first off, let's look at the standings. Oh, well, they're 5-5 in their last 10. They've lost 3 in a row. How many games? They're only a game behind the Kings. Well, they're a couple games behind the Kings, not gonna lie. I'll be honest. I don't know if the Suns can make. I don't know if the Suns can make the play-in tournament because looking at it from this point of view, so the Kings are sitting at 36 and 38. Dallas is sitting at 37 and 38. Obviously, the Suns are not going to catch the Clippers or the T-Wolves, who have over 40 wins. But you look at their schedule and who they got. They got Milwaukee, Boston, New York, Golden State, and Oklahoma City. Those are their next 5. I'm not... Tuesday, April 8th. Versus Golden State. Damn, I want to see how much that one costs. Hold on. Let's see this one. Let's see how much they're going to charge for this one. Yep, an arm and a leg, I figured. Well, and with how unguaranteed it is for players to be playing in every game, I don't see why Curry would want to sit this game or Jimmy Butler, but we'll see. Maybe I might go to that game. But yeah, depending on how injured KD is, you're not going to bring him out. You're not going to make him go on the road for that 3-game stretch at Milwaukee, at Boston, and at New York. You're not going to throw him back out there, because with or without KD, Suns are not beating the Bucks. I know they beat them at home. It was a last-second shot by Booker, but you're not going to beat the Boston Celtics, and you're not going to beat the Knicks. So I could see them wait and hold off for him to come back against Golden State and play Oklahoma City. But I don't think there'd be any reason for them to rush Durant to get back in after tweaking his ankle. Because 3, 4, 5. Because they're going 2-5. They're going 2-5 in their last 7 games here. They're not. I can't confidently say the Suns are beating the Thunder, the Suns are beating the Knicks. I can only confidently say, yeah, the Suns can beat the Spurs or Sacramento. That's it. I don't think it'd be a stretch, but I don't know if the Suns are going to go to the playoffs. And I would not be surprised because it's loud and a lot of people are talking about it on Booker being done with these guys. And Katie getting traded too. So, all right. What else is going on in the big world of sports? Anything crazy going on? Source: the Tush Push ban has support in the competition committee. Oh, hell. This is absolute bullshit. That is some of the weakest shit. If they ban the Tush Push... Fields tabbed as Jets QB1. We believe in Justin. Well, yeah, you're paying him $40 effing million. Rodgers still in frame. The Steelers weigh QB options. Yep. I think you should sign Rodgers to a 2-year deal, and then go draft Jackson Dart or Quinn Ewers or Will Howard or Dylan Gabriel or any QB that falls in your lap, because I'm gonna be honest, I'm not stretching it by any way. But you look at the QB here. Let me go to Draft Blitz here. QB draft class. QB draft class. Draft Blitz. Here we go. And we're gonna look at this one of these streams. We're gonna have a stream here where we go and we look at every single one here. Jackson Dart, Quinn Ewers, Jalen Milroe, Will Howard, Kyle McCord, Dylan Gabriel, Riley Leonard, Brady Cook, Garrett Green, Hell, even Peyton Thorne or Grayson McCall. They're not getting those guys. I'm gonna say that right now, right here, right now. Like, there's a reason why ESPN has only displayed 12 quarterbacks when there are 31 who could potentially be drafted. Yeah, Petrus, the one who was with the worst offense for Iowa those handful of years back when they got dog walked by Michigan in the Big Ten championship. He transferred to Utah State. He's not getting drafted. Spoiler alert, there's 7 rounds. He's not getting drafted. But for the Steelers to try to make a move and draft out of their league, like, there's parts of me that in the first round, go for a defensive guy. Go for offensive line help. Go get a role player to help in the offense. And then in the second round, hell yeah. Wait for Jackson Dart. Wait for Quinn Ewers. Wait for Milroe or Howard to be right there to just fall into your hands. Because I think there's a lot of hype and a lot of media hype where, yeah, Cam Ward, Stewart, they're going to be gone. But you see the gap between... Realistically, there is a gap from Cam Ward to even Shador that the media is going to turn a blind eye to. But, like, if I'm going to be real here, from what I've seen and watched, Cam Ward's the only, like, lock to be first round QB. Like, if we're taking around media darling bias, if we're taking media darling bias away and hype and a prospect from what we saw and how they performed on the field, Cam Ward's the only first round quarterback. Like, Shador has had bad games. Dart has had bad games. Quinn Ewers, maybe, because we have seen Quinn Ewers go to back-to-back college football semi-final games, but, like, with how that Ohio State game ended, with how the Georgia game ended, with how, like, he's got a laundry list. Milroe got a laundry list. Even after winning the national championship, I don't think that jumps Will Howard's draft status to the first round. McCord, Gabriel, same thing. Running backs. Like, I think out of the first round, and I hate to say this, but, like, we know the best running back this year was Ashton G&T. We know it. The stats speak for themselves, but, like, there's parts of me that think that, like, just his size alone will be why some of these GMs are like, I'd rather pick Travion Henderson or Quinshon Judkins. And, like, I kind of have a feeling that the first round is going to be 2 quarterbacks and nothing but receivers, linemen, and defensive guys. I would think you would think Ashton G&T gets drafted in the first round. You would think that, because it's like, look at how well he performed and look at how well he played this season. But, like, there's other parts of me that look at it where it's like, the NFL doesn't give a shit about running back positions. Like, they seriously don't. There have been a lot of guys in the past who have been should have been drafted, like Blake Corum. I'll use Blake Corum, for example. He was a day 2 guy, and he won a lot of games for Michigan. Yeah. T-Mac, Golden, Burden, Ibuka, they're all going to be first-round guys. Isaiah Bond. So there's some receivers that are going to be first-round. Tyler Warren's going to be a day 1 guy. Colson Loveland's going to be a day 1 guy. And then, yeah, offensive line, defensive line, edge. Like, Abdul Carter's coming off the board early. Jalen Walker, Jihad Campbell, they're coming off the board early. Travis Hunter, Will Johnson, Barron from Texas. These guys are all going to come off the board early. And so I think with just how it sits, that's where the Steelers, because all this ranting and rambling was about Jackson Dart, where if you're the Steelers, don't feel pressured or inclined to be like, okay, we got to go get Jackson Dart. Like, there's nothing. No, like, you can go get a defensive guy, you can go get a receiver, you can go get someone. I think they have the 24 or 25 pick. You can go get someone because Dart's going to be waiting there in the third round, fourth round. He's still going to be there. Okay, what else? What else we got in the NFL? Sources: Ayuk trade unlikely, bearing late change. I think the 49ers would trade Brandon Ayuk, though. Ayuk's wanted out of town. He's probably going to be gone. Cowboys feeling good about recent talks with Parsons. Okay. Ravens wait for NFL to finish the investigation. Okay. All right. Sources: Texans add linebacker speed from rival Colts. And then Diggs, ACL, 1,000-yard historical affects Pat's deal. Okay. I think the Patriots have gotten better. Don't get me wrong. The Pats have gotten better, but the division still belongs to the Bills. Like, looking at that division, it's going to be the Bills. Like, how it lines up alphabetically, yeah. Bills, Dolphins, Patriots, Jets. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, right now before the draft, the 7 teams that I think can make the playoffs: Bills, Ravens. Yeah, okay, division winners: Bills, Ravens, Texans, Chiefs. Okay, so there's 4. Bengals or Steelers. Bengals have to make it. Broncos. And then that last spot is a toss-up between the Dolphins, Chargers, and Steelers. I feel like it's that last spot because what if Tua's healthy and stays healthy all season? What if the Steelers get Rodgers and they go 9-8? Because they're inevitable. They're going to make it. They're going to be the 7th seed. And then hypothetical if man of what if Justin Herbert? Okay, those would be my 7. Okay, and then in the NFC side, give me the Eagles. Lions, Bucks, and Rams. So those are the division winners. I'm not bought in on the 49ers just yet. Those opinions might change. Opinions subject to change. And then for a 5th team, give me my Packers, because I have a feeling the Packers can make it. So there's 5. And now there's 2 more teams. I feel like those 2 teams. Oh, Washington. I think Washington could be the 6th seed. Maybe the Bears. And that 7th seed is going to be split between the Bears, the 49ers, the Cardinals, and the Cowboys. Because nobody else from the South, Panthers, Saints, Falcons, nobody else from the South is going. Yeah, that's how I see the NFL for the foreseeable future. Anything else? As the clock strikes 10, guys, it's 10 o'clock. I thank you guys for being here. Just kind of a chill stream tonight. USFL has started. Anything? I've already talked about the Final Four a little bit. The MLB. Let's go to the MLB now. because how could we forget? It's been the opening day. There are two stories, and actually, now that I think about it, this is why I have it in the thumbnail. I have a picture of a Yankees player, and the reason why everybody's talking about the Yankees right now is everybody's talking about how there's going to be a scandal in baseball, and what is the scandal after 3 days of baseball? Torpedo bats. Pretty silly, I know. It's the first week of baseball. I think if you get contact, whether your bat's metal, wooden, hollow, it looks like a torpedo. It looks like a wiffle ball bat where the top's heavy, or you have, if you make contact where you need to make contact because you read the pitch right, the ball's going 450 either way. So I think it's just people hate the Yanks, and I think the reason why there's an outcry is because, yeah, they have torpedo bats and they hit 9 home runs. I don't think it has anything to do with the bats. I just think it's because the Brewers are. I mean, we could look at who the Brewer pitchers were. We could look at how stacked the Yankees roster is. Because let's play the double standard game here. The second the Dodgers, you have Shohei Ohtani step up with a torpedo bat. You have Juan Soto, because I've watched the MLB they've loved covering Juan Soto these first couple games of him in a new Mets uniform. Would it be the same? Would the approach be the same if, Mookie Betts had a walk-off the other night, a couple nights ago. But would it be the same if Mookie's home run was with a torpedo bat? I don't think the outcry would be the same. I think it's just because it's the Yankees. They hit 9 home runs last night. They hit 4 home runs today. They had 15 overall, I think, in this opening weekend. They're sitting pretty at 3-0. So I think that's why there's complaints. Do I think the MLB is going to do an investigation into it? Hell no, because why? They don't give a shit. I mean, like, there's so much stuff in baseball, whether it's foreign substance with pitchers, whether it's like pitching clock. Like, there's just so many little things where it's like, you think that this would give a player a huge advantage and be the reason why, we make a huge jump here, when it's not. Realistically, it's not. It's not. I really don't think these bats are too much of a problem, because they don't look too much different than normal sized bats. Like, it looks like a normal bat. Now if you compare it to like a wiffle sized, wiffle ball bat, yeah, of course. But it's still, can you read the pitch? What if the pitcher's painting the corners? Are you going to be able to hit off of him? So I think it's kind of silly that there's already outcry, and how, I'll admit I jumped on the bandwagon of trolling the Yankees where, Garrett Cole said he had a bum elbow and you still had him thrown, and he blew his elbow out and he's going to have Tommy John surgery. Like, I jumped on that bandwagon of trolling him of, why do you even have him pitching? Let him rest. And everybody was like, okay, the Yankees are going to fall off this year, blah, blah, blah. They start out 3-0. They're hot right now. So I think, I think baseball watchers, they're going to complain about anything, and nothing changes here. Moving ahead, though, moving forward, which I will say quickly, too. We'll talk about it probably tomorrow or something. I'll make a video about it tomorrow. And it's about the St. John's player, Junior, Reyes Jr. He's going to declare for the NBA draft, but if he doesn't make it, he's also hit the NIL portal. And truthfully, I think it has to do something with how the Arkansas game went. It's nothing to take away on how he was the Big East Player of the Year. He won the MVP in the Big East tournament. I think it has to do everything with how he was benched against Arkansas. And well, when you're shooting as bad as he was, you didn't give Coach Pitino a choice. Like, you were cold. Ejiofor was the only offensive production for St. John's, and so that's why you're benched. I know a lot of people were crying out, he's your best player, you still keep him in the game. Both teams shot like shit. They both missed 70 buckets combined together. It was like 70 or 90. Like, it was high in that number range. In the biggest moment and in the biggest game of the season, he didn't show up. And momentum is a huge key thing. And I think, do we know what was said in the locker room or how the interaction between him and Coach Pitino went? No. Do I think there were probably some harsh words and harsh coaching that happened? Definitely. I mean, it's college hoops. But there's parts of me that think maybe the soft nature of how sports are nowadays. I do think, yeah, he probably could have gotten offended to the point where it's like, yeah, I'm declaring for the draft. And if I don't make it, I'm sure as hell I'm not coming back here. But a part of me doesn't think that that was the case, though, because these two have been together since 2023 when he was back on Iona. So the reports of it maybe being a personal vendetta, I think might be false, and I might be falling into that rage bait, but I think he's going to get drafted. I think he sure as hell has a better shot of getting drafted than a lot of other guys that might declare, like I'm thinking about. Yeah, I think an NBA team would take him over, like Cockbrenner or Ashworth. Those are some guys from Creighton. Definitely that seventh-year senior from BYU, or who are some other, like I'm thinking of Smith from Purdue, or some other points in the tournament. Maybe RJ Davis, but that would be a stretch. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on that. Okay. Sorry, let's go scores here. Phillies drop a tough one, 5-1. Cardinals roll 9-2 against the Twins. Yankees beat ass against the Brewers 12-3. Blue Jays win 3-1. Rays win 6-4. Marlins win 3-2. Giants win 6-3. Angels win 3-2. Guardians win 6-2. Rangers win 3-2. Diamondbacks win 10-6. Mariners win 2-1. Padres win 5-0. Damn, if the Diamondbacks and the Suns were playing both today, Phoenix must have been a shit show to get out of today with all the traffic. Standings. I will say this because I wanted to do a video for fun. I'm not gonna do it tonight. I'll probably do it tomorrow. But it's a theory of usually you can tell who's gonna win. You can tell who's gonna win the World Series after opening day. And my theory to this and what backs up this claim is that 4 out of the last 5 World Series winners since the Dodgers back in 2020, they've won on opening day. In 2024, the Dodgers won. 2023, the Rangers won. In 2022, the Astros won. In 2020, the Dodgers won when they came back in August. Now, the only asterisk here is 2021 when the Braves, they did not win. But I have a little list here that goes through from 2024 all the way down to 2010, where 1, 2, 3, out of 14 years of data, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 15 out of 15 years of data, 5 teams have only lost in opening day. Those are the 11 Cardinals, 12 Giants, 18 Red Sox, and 19 Nationals, along with the 21 Braves. The other stat that I want to do is at the very end of the season, where overall in the standings, both AL and NL, where were their standings overall in the rankings? Dodgers were the 1 seed, Rangers were the 8th seed, Astros in 2022 were 2, but again, there's asterisks here. The Braves in 21 were 12th best team. Again, the Braves went on a run that year. After Acuna got injured, just from July, August, they started playing the best baseball they could, and they found their way into the postseason. But I want to do a list and a theory of how the teams that have won on opening day, I've written them down, and some of these teams did include, yes, the Yankees, the Rangers, St. Louis, the Dodgers, the Padres, the Giants. There was a list of like 8 of them. Astros were on that list. And I look, and out of these 8 teams, I'm like, truthfully, Dodgers, Yankees, maybe the Red Sox, maybe. We'll see. Because it's hard. It's hard to gauge. But with how this opening weekend went, Yankees, they don't seem like they missed a beat. Same with the Dodgers. My St. Louis Cardinals are freaking surprising me, 3-0. Padres 4-0. We'll see though. Point difference. So far, overall, the best team with point difference is the Dodgers, plus 14. Oh, that Dodgers have played. Hold on. The Dodgers have played 2 extra games. I'd give it to the Padres, because the Padres started on opening day just like everybody else, and they're at a. Let's go plus 10. Yeah, okay, so it is the Yanks, plus 22. Who's the worst already? Brewers, minus 22. Twins, Cubbies, Braves. Yeah. Four-game sweep, Padres versus. And wouldn't you look at this? The point differential, the 4 best teams are all still undefeated. Yankees, Dodgers, Cardinals, and Padres. I'm still in the minority. Well, I don't think I'm in the minority of this. I think a lot of people think this. Like right now, I have looked at rosters. Where's my notebook? Yeah, it's over there. But Yankees, Red Sox, Astros, Dodgers, Phillies, Padres. They kind of have the best roster. Mets too. I'm thinking. I'm looking at a Dodgers-Phillies NL championship, and then potentially maybe a Yankees. Astros. Yankees. Texans. Yankees, Astros, Yankees, Texans. I don't think Cleveland's going to go back. But the Yankees, it'd be, Yankees, Red Sox can't. They can't because of it. They'd run into each other in the divisional because they're in the same division. They would run into each other in the divisional. I want to see a Phillies. I want to see a Phillies Yankees or Phillies Red Sox World Series. I think that'd be fun. Will that happen? Probably not. What's funny too is a lot of people who were saying the Braves were an easy candidacy to make a run. Look at Look where they're at now. They're 0-4. Now, that's a huge, like, whoa, overreaction. But 1-4 is big. And the other thing, too, let's look at standings here, is I think the division that's going to be an absolute bloodbath is going to be the West, the NL West, because I think the Giants. We'll see how the Diamondbacks do. The Diamondbacks always do pretty decent and okay in April and May, but I mean Dodgers, Padres, and Giants all fighting for the West. In the Central, yes, they started 0-3, but I still can see the Brewers pulling it out. But, I mean, starting 3-0, look at St. Louis. Maybe this could be their year. They finally win it. And then in the NL East, it's a three-way race between the Phillies, Mets, and Braves. If you ask me, I'd root for the Phillies to take it. Out of the West, give me the Astros. Out of the Central, honestly, I don't know. There's parts of me that think Cleveland could win it, but then look how far Detroit got. So it's like, oh, pick Detroit. You know, I'll take. And then Minnesota back in 23, they went far. In the Central, I don't know who's going to win it. But then in the East, give me the Yanks. Okay, that should be everything, guys. That should be everything. From Final Four to MLB to NHL to NBA to everything. That's all of it. That is all of it. Sorry, there's not a lot of structure in this stream. We kind of just had to cover everything because it's been a while. We haven't had a stream in 5 days. It's been 5 days, so hope you guys enjoyed. We'll end the stream there, but if you guys enjoyed, hit that like button. Look at that. Every single time I hit the desk, look at that. It's shaking, rumbling. I hope you guys enjoyed, though. Pending, we might do. I don't know if we're gonna do a watch party for the Final Four. But if we don't do a watch party, we'll definitely do halftime reports for the Final Four, because I will give a halftime report for the Auburn-Florida game and the Duke-Houston game. Because there's parts of me that would rather do like a Q&A where rather than me talk the whole time and commentate on the game, I'd rather do something where we have an open discussion and talk during the game with the chat, where it's like, hey, notice how, Cooper Flag in the first half went 0 for 3 from the three-point line, but here in the second half, he's made 2 in a row. Like, do we think he can make another 2 or 3 three-pointers? So something like that, like a little discussion like that. But yeah, we'll see. But I do want to have a watch along if Ovi ever potentially breaks the record, which let's double check on who they got coming up and who they're playing. Metro, Washington. So Ovi is 5 goals away from the record. Boston, Carolina, Chicago, New York, Carolina, Columbus, New York, and Pittsburgh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He 1, 2, 3, 4. Thursday, April 10th against Carolina. I hate how it looks because when you look at it like this on paper, it's like, of course, it's the game that's on Disney Plus and Hulu. But it could, dude, it very well could be this Friday. Like, let's say he puts 2 on him against Boston, 2 on him against Carolina, and then gets the 5th one Friday against Chicago. I don't know. That's what's fun about hockey. So I would like to, if we are within, once the 5 number drops to 3, we will be watching that like a hawk, where it's like, okay, we need to stream this. Like Boston, Carolina, like the Sunday game, Sunday, April 6th at New York. Like, I could see there needing to be cause to stream that one. The Thursday, April 10th one against Carolina, yes. And then every game after that, yes. Because, like, he's 5 away. He's going to get it. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 9 more games. 9 more games, 5 more goals. He's going to get it. Depends on his goalkeepers, too. It depends on who he's playing. Like, who's on net for Columbus, who's on net for Carolina. Because there have been some games I'm thinking of. The game 7-4 against Anaheim. He didn't have a goal in that one, even though they shot him out of the building. I don't think he... When they beat Florida 6-3, did he have one? No, sir. No, sir, he did not. So, we'll see. All right, people, we'll end the stream there. And again, we'll also probably do a stream. We'll do a stream on... What's the word I'm looking for? We'll do one for the draft, because I have to start making mock drafts. And I would love to cover the, you know how the USFL is going on right now, the spring league for Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I kind of want to cover USFL. Even though it's spring football. I think spring college football is starting this week or next week. We will definitely be having... I definitely want to do a prediction video on, like, looking at... Like, I don't know Oklahoma's roster. Like, I know Arnold transferred. I know Vrabel's still the coach. Like, Stutzman's declared for the draft, so there's a key piece on the defense. But, like, I want to predict just by looking at the logos and the teams and knowing the history of the teams, where it's like, okay, yeah, Oklahoma's going to play Michigan or Missouri, USF, Arizona State. It's like, yeah, odds are Oklahoma's going to win this game. And I'll predict it from that point of view. But then I also want to come back to it and be like, okay, I've looked at the roster, I've watched spring ball. We're gonna redo these predictions because I want to see the difference from that. Because I mean, looking at hell, let's just pull this up for example. You know, I'll just pull the picture up. You guys are gonna get a kick out of this. Look at this. Let's go image here. Create new. Let's pull up an image here. Let's do, you guys are going to have a kick out of this one. And here's why. This is the main reason why. Look at how many games excuse me. Look how many games, here, let me sit like this way, cockeyed a little. Look how many games I foolishly had Florida State winning last year. 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Where their only losses were against Miami and Notre Dame. They proceeded to only win 3 games. I think they went 3-9. They either went 3-9 or 2-10. Like, they played like dog shit last year. And so there's parts of me that want to predict their schedule this year for this upcoming season. And it's like, okay, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I'll give them 5 wins, 6 wins. But then after watching spring ball, I'll be like, man, actually, Thomas Castellanos is really good. He's a really good transfer piece. I'll give him 8 wins, something like that. So, but yeah, I want to do that, and I want to have one of those situations. But again, that's in the future. There's parts of me that it's like, let's just focus on the NHL, the NBA, and then the MLB. Let's focus on these 3. We'll get to the summer, and then we can start focusing on football. I don't know, but like, there's a part of me that wants to chase the views and like chase what people are talking about right now. And what people are talking about right now is baseball opening day, talking about torpedo bats, talking about how Snow White was dog shit and only got a 1.6 on IMDb. People are talking about the Switch 2 potentially coming out, and having a live stream. People are talking about Doomsday, Avengers cast. What else are people talking about right now? People are talking about Severance and how that TV show is thebomb.com. People are talking about how this Final Four was chalked and boring as hell because there's no upsets. A lot of bitching and complaining. No. But so I think, yeah, we'll see. But that's going to be my thoughts on that. It's potentially the future. Future of what potentially this week could line up and show. Because there's 32 quarterbacks that could potentially be drafted in this draft. And like, I think it'd be fun, and I think I'd stand out a little bit, and it would help my channel and content grow of being like, okay, let's talk about all 15 quarterbacks, and no, let's talk about all 32 quarterbacks, and let me give you my top 20, my top 15, and like, record it, yap for a little bit, best games, worst games, cut it down and make it concise or something like that, because like there are some quarterbacks that I'm high on right now. So, all right, we'll catch you guys later. Peace.